We shall start from the line that begins with the word ratzon. Ratzon is that miracle factor, quality. That activates all the koiches in the nefesh. And we said that the seichel functions only by the impetus of the ratzon. The chayfetz is what activates the seichel. As we explained, the chayfetz is what gives the seichel a broader perspective, where he is recognizing the presence of that which he has not yet understood and touched upon. And this is what beckons him to go there and to identify what it is. It is on account of the ratzon that he has a perception that there is more to what he has not understood, and he is enticed to go there and to identify it. This is how seichel develops as a result of the ratzon. However, we said, in the nefesh Adam, the koiches are not created by the ratzon. And surely we said the ivorim, the limbs, are not created by the ratzon. We'll have to return back to this to understand why it needs to be said at this point. But we'll see it. So but Lamailo, The Hishavus itself is the force of the ratzon. The creation of the world is the force of the ratzon. Let's start. So where did I say we'll start?
Ratzon.
Huh?
So the line that starts with ratzon.
The ratzon nikir asibon is abusa.
Which is where?
It's like slack in the middle.
Okay.
We have to get inside before we start discussing it. The ratzon, this is l'mayla. L'mayla, the ratzon, hu iker hasibul is habus oilomis. That is the principal cause for the world's coming to being. Shenizhavu achar hatzimtzum, that came to be after the tzimtzum. The actual creation of the world, not just the interest in it, but the actual coming to be. And in parentheses, the Rebbe says something, which again we'll have to just go through and refer back to it later. Uliyil Perek Zayin Nisboyer. Earlier in Perek Zayin we explained the horotzin lahatzil, that this will, lahatzil, to bring forth, hu bichlal b'chinas memale kolam, is included in that realm that's called memale kolam rather than soiver kolam. Even though rotzin is a koyach makifi, and yet this rotzin lahatzil is actually part of what's called memale kolam. And this will further be elaborated on. I want to demonstrate the effect of ratzon. At least try to do that. And to what extent ratzon actualizes our world for us. We said one time recently that we understand with our seichel. But really it is the ratzon, the part of the ratzon, that brings us closer to seichel, to the idea, and this is what enables us to understand. We understand because we want to understand. The ratzon is what pushes us and awakens our seichel to go and understand. I want to talk about ratzon. It eats about on the makif, on the ratzon level. This is when ratzon, the effect of ratzon on the koyches pnimim, on the functioning koyches.
I was saying here there's ratzon limaila and ratzon limata?
Well, what?
Are we saying here that there's ratzon limaila and ratzon
Yeah,
limata?
yeah, sure. Ratzon Lamaila has even greater effect than Ratzon Lamata. Let's see if we can relate to the following. We said many times that sight on the physical level is like seichel or chokhmah in the spiritual level. We open our eyes and we see. And there's no limit to what we can see. We do not have to see something determinate. Just open space and we see it. Just like Chokhmah perceives a broader reality than he can get a hold of. And here is what I want to bring out. When we open our eyes and we see, and we actually see this open space, this seeing, this which we see, is not just superimposed upon us. We see it because we have no choice but to see it. It's there, so we have no choice but to see it. This is not the experience of sight. The experience of sight is that we actually are drawn to it. We relate to what we see. This is the world. This is the world in which we function, in which we are present. This is a world which encompasses our being. In other words, and here's the point, we see not just with the koyach of sight. We see because ratzon is what presents to us what we see. This which we see, the sight is the last step within that experience. Prior to that, it is presented to us as something of importance, out of significance. And this is why sight relates to it and is drawn to it. This is something of tremendous significance, of reality.
Right.
So just as we said, we understand because we want to understand. We see because we want to see. The very simple experience of sight, which we said is totally automatic, is really the creation of ratzon. We see because we recognize at a higher level that this is important what we see. This importance is identified by the ratzon. We don't see the world because it's there, we see the world because it's real, because it's important. Because this is the world in which the reality of around us.
What can we say about what ratzon is adding to make it real versus it's there? So we don't see because it's there, we see because it's, or ratzon presents that this is real. What is this element?
Real means that it is ours. It is not something we see that is at a distance, that is foreign to us. No, this is ours. We belong to it and it belongs to us. That's ratzon. That's ratzon. If it were fun, then sight would not create a curiosity to try and know more about it.
If it were
Foreign.
foreign.
Yeah. So this that it's not foreign. This is a sort of relationship, intimate. We belong to it. It belongs to us. This is a sort of union with reality, you could say.
That's right. That's right. And that is the effect of ratzon. And here we come to the point where we have to try and define ratzon a little bit more definitively. We have to open our mind a little bit and see ratzon from a broader perspective. Contrary to the way we experience it in our physical life, that first I'm hungry and then I want to eat. Here is a different level. Ratzon is what identifies what we should want. Because we sense in ratzon, ratzon tells us that life is important. And all experiences of life are important. And all the environment in which life is experienced is important. This importance, what is the meaning of this importance? The importance that we identify in ratzon is way beyond the practical importance. It is an importance on the divine level. We have a common experience. Oh, I wasted my time. What do you mean you wasted your time? If he had nothing to do, so you didn't do it. So how did time waste? What's the answer? Time cannot be without anything. Time is significant. It has a reality. And if you did not find what to do with it, it was wasted. In other words, without there being something compelling, you must accomplish this and this, something especially to accomplish. It has an inherent importance. It is an importance of a higher caliber, of a caliber that is akin with life itself. This is why we have the expression of "I wasted my time." Waste of time is a sometimes hits us like a thunderbolt. It's worse than wasting money. And we actually sense this. And the reason we sense it is because we have this ratzon that identifies the significance of life, a significance of everything.
It seems like the sight of the eye, we have ayin ro'eh lev chomed. So this is chitzoni of sight, right, where distractions are everywhere. But the good eye is identifying what is real and how time should be spent, yeah?
Yes, and here's what the point that we have to fill in. Ayin re'eh, because that which the ratzon presents it to see.
Okay, and then the chemda of the lev is appropriate.
It's appropriate.
Not the danger, but rather the upside of that is not the distraction. But
This is why it's important that yes, you're going to ayin re'eh v'heb, and you have to immediately engage your seichel and say, discern what part of what you see you should pursue, what part of it is meant for you to ignore, to bypass. If not for our sense of the significance of existence, of the world, significance of our experience, then you would not be curious to see what we see. How much time do we spend looking up into space? We get up in the morning. What a beautiful day. What do you mean a beautiful day? Because the day presents to us a certain status in our existence. That's why it's so enticing. It's a beautiful day. The whole existence is beautiful. This is created by the ratzon because I want to live. It's not inadvertent. And this is what I was saying, that even in Nefesh HaOdom, the koiches are actually activated by the ratzon. You ask a kasha. You ask a kasha. Usually, when you ask a kasha, that arouses the seichel and says, "Okay, let's dig and see how we can find an answer and explanation." You would think that the kasha is what activates the seichel, but that is only part of the story. The real story is, the reason that the kasha activates the seichel is that you appreciate the seichel itself. You appreciate what you learned. And if you have a kasha in it, this is a doorway, an opening to go deeper into what you were learning. And this is what the effect of this kasha that draws it and so to speak, piques your curiosity, your interest. Because obviously there is more to what I see, more to it. And the reason that there is this more to it is due to the ratzon, because there's an inherent value and interest that I have in this thing. a very far-fetched illustration of the principle. We have the reform movement, we have the conservative movement, and we have the Orthodox, and we have Chassidiship, you have a whole slew of shulim and yeshivas and so forth. And then lahavdil of Havdalas, there is the goyiship part. You also have their lahavdil, their churches and all that. We certainly want to know what's doing in a shul. You want to know what's doing in yeshiva, what's doing in yeshul, a Chassidish shul, a Methodish shul, a Beltish shul. We even are curious to know what's doing, how the conservatives conduct their, so to speak, service. We're even interested to know how the Reform conduct their services. We have pain by it, we have mercy on them, but nonetheless we are interested to know. We have no curiosity to know how the Goyim conduct their activities in their churches. Because they don't exist in our ratzon, they're not real. On the Reform and the Conservative, they're AYIN, and we want to know because ultimately they're part. We want them to come and become AYIN. We don't divorce them.
I hear, but I went to public school, and a lot of my friends are goyim, and we used to stand, and the Yidden didn't have to join in, but they'd say hymns. They'd say, "The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name." So, I'm serious. So I don't know if they're real or not real. I'm just telling you there was an exposure I had. So it's seemingly fairly real to me. One day there's going to be a birur. They'll come to us. They'll say, "Oh, you were telling us about the one God. How can we serve him?"
That is because it was misrepresented to you. It was represented to you as really part of your world. Whereas in truth, it is not. It is the ratzon that identifies reality for us, not the seichel.
That's interesting. It was presented as part of reality, but it's not. So this is like living within some kind of illusionary state.
The religion of the Reform is really now liberalism, and liberalism is Marxism, and they're far more dangerous and evil than some of the Christians. Far more destructive.
Yitzchak.
Yeah.
Would you allow your child to marry a Reformed Jew in comparison to allow your child to marry a religious Christian?
No.
You missed the point over there. All right. I got into this because I wanted to bring ratzon into some kind of an identity level.
Mm.
Ratzon is the foundation of the practical human life.
What's the word practical doing there?
Practical means all other keches, starting with seichel, with keches hagluyim, with functional.
Conscious, functional. Okay.
All right, let's go after the parentheses over there. B'chein ha'yizhavus b'poil. Likewise, yizhavus b'poil. Yizhavus on a function, on a practical level. B'chein means in likewise. Likewise what? What the Rebbe is explaining is that the oil has soivev, the koyach of ratzon, the koyach of that which is all-encompassing, which is of a higher caliber than the practical. This is the force behind all accomplishment. Even when there is a functional koyach like seichel and midas, the ratzon is the factor behind it, the force behind it. And as the Rebbe said before, if the gidi haratzon, if the ratzon is lost, then you lose everything. Again, let's go inside now that we have elaborated. V'chein ha'yizhavus b'poil, all the way to his havus b'poil, to actual creation b'poil on the practical level. And after we finish this, we'll go to a moshel. Hagam shezehu al dehoe pnimi, even though that it is created by a pnimi, by internalized oil, by actual oil that identifies with the function. Dihu v'gamei echad dibrei bohem. Dihu, the koich haliki and the kelim are used to create the mitzias. Nonetheless, sheham habehu hoir. There too, the actual force, the koyach, to create is the oil. Shezehu bechinas ihu shemisyachet gem ganmeim. This is ihu. This is the godly aspect that is misyachet, that unites with the ganmeim, with the kelim. But which oil is that? That's the oil that's pnimi. That's in the kelim. The kol mokot But yet still, hu b'koyach ha'irisoy ha'seiv davka. Ultimately, the koyach to create is due to the koyach ha'irisoy ha'seiv, the supreme oir. This is how it is able to create. To create, you have to be able to relate to that which is completely outside. Like we said the other day, in order to make a step, you need ratzon. Why? The foot is able to walk. The answer is the foot it knows only the place where it is. It doesn't know the next spot. The next spot is outside of its world. What brings them together? What brings the foot to identify with the next step? This is the ratzon. This is a broader perspective. This is the oir haseviv.
What's the meaning here, completely outside? Because seemingly ratzon deals only with what it sees as real. So
no, ratzon has a broad perspective.
Namely, all-encompassing.
Look, here's my glasses. They're here right now. What makes it possible for me to move the glasses over here?
That you're above. You see
Oh,
all possibilities.
That's right.
So
as far as I'm concerned, these glasses are not in this spot. The glasses are in the entire reality.
Yeah. So what's being said about completely outside? What happened?
This is the complete outside. The ratzon is what connects the foot with that which is completely outside of it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Even though you have koyach in the foot to move it back and forth, and the hand and so forth, but it is the ratzon that enables it completely.